Freedom isn't free. The tragic flaw in America is that it actually is free for almost everyone. Most Americans never have, never will give anything for the freedom that they have been granted simply by birthright. My entire way of life as an American, the country myself and generations of my ancestors have fought to defend, if there is such a thing left, is in dire distress. If ever there were a time to fly your flag upside down, today is that moment. It is just one calendar year that we have seen so few tiny threads of freedom that Americans have clung to completely and finally torn apart. Raging hordes of violent gangs, rioters, and looters have destroyed the lives, properties, and businesses of innocent citizens for 9 months, and in some cities it still goes on. It was called peaceful protesting, it was allowed to proliferate, and it was unable to be controlled by police with their hands tied behind their backs, without curfews or punishment, and the persons who've committed these atrocities roam free to this day. The actually peaceful protest by completely unarmed patriots in D.C. was upstaged and infiltrated by radical leftists and Antifa in one of the most magnificently staged traps Hollywood couldn't even conceive. It lasted just an hour, and then it was instantly crushed by the National Guard and a 1-mile perimeter around the Capitol established in about an hour. A curfew was immediately in place. There was no damage to any personal property or any business, no fires, no looting, just a totally staged movie set. This was called an armed insurrection and the darkest day in American history by the liberal media, even though no one was armed and not one single shot was fired by any citizen. So when day is night and black is white and left is right and we can no longer distinguish up from down, it's clear that we are all being manipulated by forces greater than we can imagine. In September 2001, when 2 of the world's tallest buildings fell straight down without scratching anything else around them, many people suspected that it was not terrorists that created the 9/11 horror. However, that was too much for Americans to believe that the deep state or our own government was involved, so these people were labeled conspiracy theorists. In contrast, the 2020 presidential election was the most spectacularly overt and egregious crime ever committed against the citizen of the United States. It was fraught with mountains of evidence, testimonies, video, to the monumental election irregularity. And yes, I have to say that word if I want anyone to ever see this video. No court in the land would even hear a case on the evidence, never mind rule on the evidence. Unlike 9/11 this time, with 80 million people screaming election irregularity, the liberal media and big tech labeled half of America as insane right-wing conspiracy theorists. Half of America is now conspiracy theorists. Really? The last shred of America that existed was our election system. The only thing that made Americans feel that there was a chance to change anything that they weren't happy with. That is now so completely corrupted and manipulated from so many sources, it's absolutely pointless to even participate in the voting system ever again. And let's face it, that's what the people controlling us want. They want us to quit, and we will, en masse. In 2020, we saw an unusually bad case of the flu twisted into something monstrous that it simply isn't. As a result, we've seen the unprecedented theft of our individual freedom under the guise that we should be helping our fellow man. As if Americans didn't care about their fellow citizens prior to March of 2020, or without our government teaching us right from wrong. It's such an insult. Fake death tolls and manipulated statistics have been used to scare some people completely out of their senses. In the end, the U.S. death toll declined in 2020. So I'll say what 100+ million Americans are thinking, but are too scared to. There is no pandemic. It's just an unusually bad case of the flu. Did you think in your entire life the seasonal flu wouldn't be worse than usual 1 year? Really? In your entire life? All flus are created equal every year? Come on, man. If 2020 made clear one single thing, it is this. There is absolutely no freedom in the United States of America. Be honest with yourself. What are you free to do? Nothing. You can't do anything that the government won't allow you to. You can't go to church unless they let you. You can't go to work unless they let you. You can't open your business unless they let you. You can't drive a car unless they let you. You can't travel unless they let you. You can't upgrade your home without a building permit, and then they'll let you. You can't even raise a child unless you follow the rules of the government, and then they'll let you. You can't spend Christmas with your family unless they let you. And now, unless you conform to the new communist order in our country, you're not even allowed to speak unless they let you. You want to know why you can go to a Walmart but you can't go to church? It has nothing to do with the flu. You don't talk to people when you're in Walmart. When you go to church, you meet with friends, family, citizens, you speak, exchange ideas, and are assembled under the guidance of a leader or a shepherd who disseminates information that the government doesn't necessarily want you to hear. They can't have that. They need us isolated from each other. They need us to only communicate electronically so that every thought we have is recorded. Why are children being forced into remote learning? It has nothing to do with the flu. If your children only see and interact with the talking head of a virtual teacher, then they are subjected only to whatever indoctrination the master state wants them to be aware of. No challenge to the teacher, no dissenting opinions from other students. Over time, Americans have been trained to be completely gutless, spineless, and unwilling to even speak against oppression, never mind act against it. Most are scared to say anything confrontational on a social media site, never mind face-to-face. So you're mad, you're scared, and you want to defend yourself. What do? You went out and you bought yourself an AR-15 or a Glock pistol, and you bought yourself a box of ammo. You may have even gone to the range once or twice to shoot it. But what are you going to do with it? Any thug will just slap it out of your hands and beat you with it. Odds are almost certain you've never even been punched in the face or had to defend yourself in your entire adult life. You've never killed a rabbit, never mind a human being. And face it, you're not going to. You're not going to do anything. From all the gun owners who say, you'll have to pry them from my cold, dead hands. No, they won't. You won't do anything. Just like you didn't do anything this entire year while our country was under attack from the inside and our history was being erased. There wasn't even one single right-wing nutjob who went out into the crowds of rioters and started shooting. Nobody did anything. And if watching the rioters steal and burn and beat people half to death wasn't enough to provoke the citizens of America, then nothing will. When the gun confiscation squads show up at your house and surround your home with heavily armed soldiers and bulletproof gear, you're going to open up your front door, pull your pants down, stick your ass in the air, and let them take anything they want from you, so long as they don't kill you, imprison you, or hurt your wife or your children. Your life is too good to do anything to upset it, so just drop the bullshit. And what does it all mean? When half of America sees our present situation as an attack on their very existence, and the other half sees it as the pathway to utopia, something is gravely wrong. The only plausible explanation is that the entire thing is fake. Our whole existence is just made up to make us hate each other and distract us from what is really happening in our country. For sure, it is completely irreconcilable. There will never be any unity in our country ever again. Not on any topic. This isn't a budget dispute. This is people who have lost family or have personally fought to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against people who literally want to shred it and who have done absolutely nothing to earn the freedom that they can't wait to give away. You can't fix that. But I have come to understand that this is the desired outcome. Who is controlling us? I don't know. But it's not us, that's for sure. We are doing exactly as we're supposed to. We're divided and we're dying to be conquered. There are no Republicans and there are no Democrats. There is no Trump and there is no Obama. It's just a game board where we are the pieces. An ant farm where we are the ants. In the movie series The Matrix, the main character Neo is offered the choice of a blue pill or a red pill. To take the blue pill would let him to continue to live in the false reality that was his present circumstance. The red pill exposed him to the real truth, the realization of what life actually was. He chooses the red pill and discovers that all humans are simply creatures bred and kept alive to act as batteries to supply power to the matrix. Their minds are fed a false reality to keep them happy while they are living in a tub of liquid goo attached with wires to their brain and spine. I realize today that this is not far from our reality. We're just batteries. You aren't producing anything for you or your community. You have only one purpose, and that is to provide energy to keep your government running in the form of tax dollars. The government wants batteries that are willing or able to give more power in the form of more tax or more votes. It wants to rid itself of batteries that want to conserve or hold on to power. There is no limit on how much you can be taxed, and there is no limit on how much your existence can be controlled, and there is no limit on the government whatsoever. None at all, not even your vote. Just accept that. If you can come to grips with the fact that we are not in any way free, then the only logical conclusion that hasn't been realized by Americans is that the United States of America has already died. In honor of the death of my country, I'm going to fly my flags at half-mast for a month and then take them down, most likely forever. Then I'm going to take the blue pill and try to be happy with whatever the government grants me permission to have, and just try and keep my ever-dwindling battery away from them.